For those of you who don't know yet about the Yonge-Finch, I would call it a massacre that happened yesterday. I just started reading up on it last night and this morning. This isn't one of my normal videos. For those of you who don't know what happened already, about 1 p.m. yesterday, someone in a van was driving down Yonge Street and he started running over people on the sidewalk. People say he was doing this at about like 60, 70, 80 kilometers per hour, just driving down the sidewalk and mowing these people down. I think it's really sad and disheartening to see this happen somewhere so close to home. This event took place around Yonge-Finch, but it stretched all the way down to Yonge-Sheppard. So that's about a dozen blocks or so. It's about 3 major city blocks. And I remember I was downtown when it happened. I had an exam in the morning, and my friend runs in and says, "Hey, is everyone okay? Did you see what happened?" You let everyone know about what went on at Yonge-Finch. At first, I didn't really believe it. It didn't really hit me at first, but I think the most terrifying thing out of this all is that people I might have known could have been there. It could have been people I went to high school with, because it's so close to my high school as well, my former high school, and it could have been any one of their families. I'm just gonna read a quick blurb from a news article I was reading. The death toll in the horrific van attack in Toronto on Monday afternoon has risen to 10, with 15 others injured. A man drove down on the sidewalk on Yonge Street between Finch and Sheppard, plowing through pedestrians and indiscriminately hitting almost everything in its path. The driver was apprehended by a single officer shortly after at Yonge and Sheppard. He is now in custody. Toronto Police Chief Mark Saunders identified the suspect as 25-year-old Alec Minassian and says he appears to be from Richmond Hill. York police have taped off every portion of Elmley Drive near 16th and Bayview Avenue in Richmond Hill, where the Minassians reportedly lived. There's another article, the video that was taken by someone who was actually there, and it shows the driver getting out of the van, and there was a single cop there that was the one that arrested him. He arrested him. He was the first one there, and at this point, he didn't know what was inside the van. It could have been anything. I mean, from anyone's point of view, this would easily be seen as an act of terror. I think there's something really to say about someone who handled a situation like that without shooting. What was he thinking at this moment? He knew this was the van that had reportedly mowed down more than 2 dozen people. See the smashed grille. He could see the man behind the steering wheel. Did he think it was going to explode? Did he expect the jumper to jump out shooting? But the cop holds his fire. The van door opens. The driver, dressed all in black, steps out and is pointing what appears to be a gun at the officer. He yells something, but you can't hear it over the siren. The officer stands in the middle of the street, alone, facing the man who's pointing the gun back at him. But the cop doesn't shoot. He reaches into his car and turns off his siren. Now you can hear the driver, still facing the cop, standing square, his arms raised. The gun may not be a gun, but it's too hard to tell from where the cameraman is. He steps towards the officer, then reaches back fast into his pockets and pulls up again. Suddenly you realize he wants the cop to shoot him, but that's not happening. The driver quick draws a second time, and the cop won't fire. The officer's yelling, "Get down." He repeats it again. You can hear the driver now, too. He says, "I have a gun in my pocket." You can almost hear a hint of frustration, but the cop doesn't shoot. I think it's important to realize what a tense situation this was and how difficult it must have been for that single cop to handle. I, for one, am proud to live in a community where if something like this does happen, then then it won't jump from 10 murders to 11. All of this is really terrifying, but it also makes me really sad. Sad that this is what he had to resort to, God knows what reason. And I think in a first world community and society that we often forget that there are people out there still hurting, and whether it be from a mental illness or whether it be from anything this guy might be suffering. I think the sad thing is that sometimes things like this happen and it gets taken out on the public. I just wanted to say that it's important to pay attention to your surroundings wherever you are. This is a really tragic reminder that when we're out and about and going about our day, it's always important to just keep aware of your surroundings and don't walk in text. That is possibly one of the worst things that you can do. But just be wary, because this is something that can happen anywhere, not just in Toronto, but anywhere else. It isn't restricted to just oh, it happened in Toronto, but it's not going to happen here. Remember that, I'm going to be honest, there are crazy people all over the place, and sometimes it isn't safe to be outside. Comfortable as everyone has gotten with the way things were and all the different things that protect us from these things, they sometimes fail. So I'm just gonna send out my thoughts and condolences to the families that were affected by this tragic event. I'm just gonna leave a couple links in the description about the articles I was reading, and just a hotline for mental health that anyone in Canada right now has access to. I hope everyone out there stays safe and your family is safe. I just want everyone to be careful, and that's the end of this video.